Welcome everybody. Finally, I figured it out. Can everybody hear me? Could you just type 1 or something in the box to let me know that you can all hear me and see me on tonight's webinar? Just let me check in the chat box if you're not familiar as a oh, nice. Well, some people are there. Are you hearing me? Can you just say, yes, I can hear you? Yay. Thank you, Davina. Yay, Paula. Woohoo. Right. Welcome, everybody. Sorry for the slight delay. This technology is really new to me. And, you know, I'm at that age. Technology is a bit challenging. And I didn't know which button to press. But thankfully, I do have someone on the end of the phone who is going to help me through this. So there shouldn't be any major disasters. But above all, I want to welcome you here tonight and thank you for making the time to be here. I have discovered that I think I might have opened a bit of a floodgate with this menopause thing and mental health, which is a delight for me, but also a kind of worrying, isn't it, really? Right, a few housekeeping tips before we begin, because I have so much I want to cram into this and share with you. Please make sure, sounds obvious, but make sure you are watching this and everything else is turned off, like no phones. If you have a phone there, move it out of the way, put it on silent. Do not be distracted by anything. Shut the door if you can to everybody. Tell them just anything you like, but you're not available while this is on. Because we know at this stage of life, it's easy to get distracted. Honestly, we don't need a lot of help to be distracted, and you want to concentrate and focus as best you can through this slideshow and this masterclass so that you get most from it. Right, okay. Thank you everybody for feeding back. That's brilliant to know that you're here. Right, let's crack on then. I think I'm gonna find some slides in a minute. Oh, look, technical hitch number 2. Can't find my slides. Oh, well, I'll just chat for a while, shall I? Hello, technical help person. No slides. Well, while that is being sorted out, because I'm sure it will be sorted out, how many of you here are here because you recognise feeling anxious and overwhelmed and irritable and sometimes angry? Hooray, slides. Here we go. Yes. So who says you can't completely change how you feel about life? Feel more aligned with who you really are. Stop feeling angry, sad, anxious, guilty, unworthy, and do all of the above when you're menopausal. I'm just going to switch off my video. So, as I said, just put your hand up. If any of this sounds familiar, just say 1, me. Yeah, we got some me's, damn yes. me, yes. Yes, you're in the right place then. Hooray. So, and if only I could master I practiced this yesterday. Can I figure out how to change the slides slow? No, I can't. Oh, bless me, eh? I need another slide. How do I change the slides? Help me, Brian. This could take slightly longer. Screen share is on. Slides are on. Hey, I found the next button. You. Okay, so who says you do? Because if you've got any doubt at all that huge change is, I know. Oh, I'm back. Whoa. It's cracking, isn't it? Welcome to menopause, everybody. Yes, you do, because If you've any doubt at all, the huge change is possible for you. What it means is that you've created an internal rule set that you don't even realize you have running. And I know from personal experience, and that's what I'm going to share with you tonight, is my story and how it took me a while, but I figured out how to put the pieces together, what they meant, and how I could help you. But that's what you've been taught to believe, that, somehow this is normal, this is okay, this is to be expected, this is somehow your fault. And that maybe it's not possible to get back to you, but what I'm about to teach you is going to help you achieve more than you believe possible. And I say that with absolute confidence because every person I ever work with has that little, there's hope, but there's also that grain of doubt. Like, really? Is this possible for me? Yes, it is, damn straight. I'm going to take you step by step through how I rewrote the rules on menopause to finally start living life on my terms. I'm feeling okay with things like this, like technology, not really managing it quite right first time. And I'm going to give you a window into my world. Scary place, but a fun place too. And I'm going to help you see that it's possible to achieve more balance, calm, and ease in your life starting today. Oh yes, today. And how to develop more resilience and be in control no matter what life throws at you. Because boy, it throws stuff at you. Because once you finally move past roller coaster, anxiety, depression, frustration, overwhelm, you remember who you are, what you want, and rediscover the strength to achieve what you want. But let's just make sure we're all in the right room here. I think we are, based on what everybody said so far. But let's just be sure, because I don't want to waste anybody's time, and you don't want to be here and discover this is not for you. So this webinar is most definitely for you if you've been feeling panicky, anxious, angry, or sad, way more than is normal, and you have no idea why. You're not sleeping well. Your concentration is short. You no longer trust your own decision making. You feel like you can't cope like you used to, and you used to cope with everything. You care deeply about responsibility to others, but also have so much more you want to achieve for yourself. You're really good at what you do, but increasingly anxious and burdened by having to hold it all together for everyone else. You're usually last on your own list. Familiar? Mm-hmm. Your thoughts are increasingly dominated by worst case futures and things that could have been different in the past. You are losing touch with the present. You're smiling and coping on the outside, but terrified and failing on the inside. But who is this not for? Who is not someone that should be in this room? If you're someone who tends to blame people or circumstances when you feel low, and it's easy to do, and I've been there. For a long time, I was someone that would blame other people, blame my circumstances, blame everything but me. And if you're still in that place, this is not criticism or judgment, but it isn't the right time for you. Same thing. If you're secretly comfortable being a victim, I had to have this pointed out to me once, which I had no idea, that actually I was quite comfortable with the tea and sympathy, the poor you, and it kept me trapped. So again, no judgment. It's not your fault, but if you're currently feeling like that's you, this is not the place for you right now. If you give up easily, you need dogged determination. And I'm hoping, in fact, I'm guessing that if you're here now, you've got that dogged determination. You may be hanging on by your fingernails, but I think most of you have that determination. If you want an overnight fix, now this is fast. What I'm sharing with you, you can apply and benefit from fast, but it's not magic. You do have to do something. It's not just something I do. You have to play a part in it. So if you want just a quick fix, a pill you can take, this isn't for you. If you think you're too busy, I know we're all busy. So easy to use that and to feel like it's justified. We're busy, I'm busy, I'm busy. But if you think that will stand in your way, if you are not ready to put yourself first for this, at least, then this is not the place for you. And if you think now is not a good time, well, I'm guessing if you're here, you think now is a good time, but it's so easy, like you can hear it or go, oh yeah, well, that's really interesting. Oh, maybe next week, maybe next month, maybe next year. If you recognize that kind of thinking, this is not for you. But I'm just going to leave slight pause to allow anyone that might want to leave the room, but I hope that you're all still here. Oh, sound keeps coming and going. I'm so sorry. Ooh, sound gone off. Okay, I'm concerned now. Has everybody stopped hearing me? Typing in. My sound is fine. Okay, right. Just a quick, sorry, just digress. Feedback on sound. Make sure you shut down every other window on your computer. It does affect the connection. And if you've got anyone else in the house who's using bandwidth rich, they're gaming, do your best to persuade them to stop, because it does affect this. Okay, I can hear you. Great. Right, so those of you who are in the right room, thank you everybody for getting back to me. At the end of the webinar, I'm going to share with you something which you're going to really love. It's my Grow with Confidence While You Sleep download, and I give it to all my clients. And even if sleep is not what they came to see me for, because it rarely is, what you'll find if you're menopausal is you probably have disrupted sleep, and this recording will help that. You will suddenly discover what sleep feels like. So hang on to the end and I will share that with you. You can download it. Okay. Oh, hello. I've got to go back. Lost my slides now. Where do I go now? There we go. So why listen to me? Okay, so here's who I am. I'm Shirley, as you may have gathered. I'm the founder of the Mental Wealth Factory, author, podcaster, motivational speaker, and I've helped thousands of people, including myself, transfix with fear, inadequacy, or self-doubt to achieve personal goals they hadn't dared dream were possible. But before, I'm not going to dive deep into, what's amazing about me. I'm going to dive deep into what went wrong for me and how I brought it back. So I thought I was coping well. I'd written a book. It had 5-star reviews on Amazon, and I didn't pay any of those people to do it. They were just normal people who bought the book. I was appearing on the covers of magazines. I was writing online programs. I was running tele-summits. It was all tickety-boo lovely. Thought it was great. But there's always a but. Just at the point where you thought it was all going brilliantly, and I'm sitting in a pub garden with my partner and I'm rewarding myself with a glass of wine and a nice meal to celebrate achieving my first 5-figure month in my business and completing that 5-star Amazon reviewed book that I just showed you. Not long after that, it all collapsed. Everything went the wrong way up. All of a sudden, this may be familiar, I started feeling anxious for no reason. I cried easily, was forgetful, couldn't retain information, doubted myself daily, and I became afraid to do the very things I had found so easy to do just months before. I'm showing you these dreadful pictures so you get a sense of how that was expressed for me on the outside, because I feared I had early onset dementia. My mother had gone into a care home, I'll come back to that later, and was showing signs of early dementia, and I was forgetting things. I was forgetting appointments, missing appointments, forgetting I was supposed to be meeting with friends, losing things. I was ashamed and I isolated myself because I couldn't admit that I wasn't coping, that my business had stopped being a success. In fact, it had collapsed. And I tried lots of solutions, I'll come back to this later, that were treating the symptoms of, oh my goodness, I don't have any money. I better try something else. And I was trying all sorts, including network marketing, but nothing worked. I failed at everything, which obviously made everything worse. And as you can see, even though it's a really grainy picture, I looked and felt old. It didn't occur to me, and I know from an email I picked up just before we went on air, that any of this was connected to menopause. Didn't occur to me. I thought it was me. I was losing my mind. So not exactly a light bulb moment, because I wasn't getting help with any of this. I had no idea what was going on. I was just trying to keep my head above water. But 5 years on, through, as I mentioned at the outset, bloody-minded persistence, and however low I felt, an unwillingness to completely give in, even though there were days and moments where I did think I would give in, I finally figured out how to apply the very things that I'd been teaching others for so long as a clinical hypnotherapist about building positive neural pathways. Now, I'm going to leave all the jargon out of this. Occasionally I'll mention stuff like this, but don't worry, I'm not going to dive deep into it. This is not going to be anything technical. I just want you to know that in simple terms, this is about, people call this positive thinking, but this isn't about mantras or saying things in the way that you're suddenly supposed to feel differently. This is about understanding what goes on in your brain and how to change it. And I figured out how. Oh, this is me figuring it out. No makeup. So as I said, which meant I was finally able to shake things up in a good way for myself without recourse to pills or hormones. Now, I'm not decrying pills and hormones. If they work for you and they help, go get it, girl. But I've worked with people who have been taking the pills and taking the hormones, and they still feel like rubbish and like they're lost and confused and sad and irritable and all of those things. So it seems to me that they're not always the answer. But please, I'm not clinically qualified in any way to advise you on this. You do what your GP suggests and you feel is right for you. But I didn't do any of that. I figured this out and everything started to change for me for the better. So just 2 years ago, I established the Mental Wealth Factory and I launched my professional speaking business at 2 national conferences on mental health in schools, as well as providing inspirational keynote speaking for young enterprise. Now, why is that a big deal? Because I had no background whatsoever. I'm not a teacher, never was. I do have educational qualifications, but I've no connection with schools whatsoever. And yet I managed to get myself to a place where I believed in myself enough to make this happen. And that's the power of what I want to share with you. So I started pitching for book deals, not just writing my own self-published book, which was what the last one was, but going, I have something worth saying, and contacting Routledge, no small publisher, to say, hey, I've got something to say about this. And they gave me a book deal. And as long as I get on with it, it will be published next spring 2021. But I still was not thinking this was anything to do with anybody else but me. I just thought, oh, thank God, I figured this out for myself. Hooray. And it kind of started, I began to realize that maybe there was more to this. I gave a 30-minute talk to a group of successful businesswomen. And all I was doing was sharing what I'd been doing, because I knew other people struggle, but I still didn't think this was connected to menopause. And I kind of said, well, I'm putting together this program. At the time, the program was Midlife Reinvention. And I hadn't created it. I didn't know exactly what I was going to put in it, didn't know what I was going to charge for it. And 20% put their hands up and said, yes, please, I'd like to join. So I clearly was onto something. And then I discovered I really wasn't alone. So this was one of the pivotal moments. I mean, I'd already thought, no, I think there's more to this. But then only recently, this is how important, this is what really drives this webinar and everything I want to achieve with this moving forward. This is Dr. Anne Carson, as you can see. And she's clearly a high-performing, capable woman coping with all sorts. And she's worked her way up and suddenly she's describing what I was feeling. And in the same way, like she never expected, that classic case of I'm not someone who struggles like this, to the extent that she's considering giving up her job. And that's a loss to her, a loss to the health service. And that's a loss for all kinds of businesses across the country. It's a loss to us setting up our own businesses, a loss to our families being ourselves, a loss to everything and everybody. And that's why this is so important. Just going to jump into the chat for a minute. Oh, hello. Right, so the meat of the presentation. What I've promised you. What did I do? What did I do? Just before I jump into this, I want to make it really clear that I'm going to share with you the 3 core elements that really underpin everything. But look at these as foundation stones, because the key thing to realize is that it isn't just one thing that made the difference for me, and it won't be just one thing that makes the difference for you. And it is an identical way of interpreting the same things for everybody. It's knowing which bit to use when, and if it doesn't work for you, you let it go, you do something different. But there are some core elements which I'm now going to share. Traditional problem solving doesn't work. Now, this may seem like a weird thing to say, but this is absolutely critical for you to understand this, because if you take yourself back to where I said I was, so everything's imploded, like my life's just fallen apart. I'll come to this later, but I'll mention it again now. I now look back and realise, so my mother had gone into care. The bank had just withheld a $9,000 payment from a client, which was my only client at that time, because I'd been not getting new clients because I was writing this book, which meant I didn't have any new clients. So I had no money because the bank held on to it for reasons known to themselves. And I'd found another lump in my breast, and I'd had that before. And that doesn't sound like, none of those are monumental. They're just things that happen, but they all happen at once. And so I hit this crisis point without realizing it. And I did what probably most of us do. I thought, I'm a smart person. I can work this out. And I just kept banging my head against the brick wall. I just kept trying everything I could possibly think of to solve the problem, but it didn't. And I know now why that's the case. It comes from the part of our brain that's trying to solve the problem, doesn't really get where the problem resides, which is in the primitive part of the brain that deals with all of that anxiety and panic and get me out of this room stuff. But here's the other thing, and I discovered this quite by chance. The part of your brain you need to access is a part you haven't been using for a very, very, very long time, probably because we've lost touch with who we really are and what we're really about. And I only discovered this because I thought, I've tried everything else, honestly, everything. I just didn't know where else to turn. What the hell do I do? All the traditional routes seemed closed, nothing worked. So I thought, right, okay. And I don't know why I thought this. I do. I remember working with clients, and sometimes when they were really stuck, I'm not talking about menopause, or just clients that were stuck, and they couldn't imagine, how could life be better? They just couldn't. What I used to do with them, and what I did with myself, was I'd say, okay, try and think back far enough in life that you remember something you enjoyed long before teachers or parents or any adults told you what you should or shouldn't be doing. What did you like? I thought, okay, Shelley, you can do this. This is what you're going to have to try. See if this breaks open the doors for you. So I thought, okay, well, I couldn't think of mud. It seemed so irrelevant. I thought, okay, well, I liked playing in the garden and messing about with mud. And I didn't, but I was good at sewing when I was very young. And I persuaded myself later that wasn't what professional women do. I don't do that. So I didn't have a garden, lived in a flat. But around the corner in my local library was a little group of women who knitted vegetables. Can you believe that? Knitted vegetables. And previously, the old Shirley would have run a million miles, gone, don't be ridiculous. Who knits vegetables? I've got far more important things to do. But I just didn't know where to go. And I thought, look, at least this would take the pressure off. There's no plan here other than to just go and do something nice. So I went along, and that's when I realized, oh, I'm onto something here. Because what that does, if you remember what it was like to be a child, you're not thinking then that time in life, you're just tapped into the things you love, and you have absolute clarity. Like, there's no problem. If someone says to you, do you like this? Do you not like that? It's easy as a child. And so what that did was it opened up a part of my brain, amazingly, a part of my brain that I'd been neglecting. That part of my brain was connected to who I really was, because I spent my entire adult life being who I thought I should be, playing according to someone else's rules, be they employers, bosses, parents, friends, whoever. I'd forgotten who the hell I was. And this began to open things up for me. And your brain does an amazing thing. When you open things up for yourself, this is me. I wish I could knit like that. I can't. But hey, this is me, pretend. Doing terribly well. Your brain, once you start doing something that's not all about pressure and panic, it is coming from the part of your brain that can solve the problem, and it calms you down because there's no pressure. It's like, oh, what am I going to do? Become a world-class knitter? No, I'm just enjoying this lovely kind of process of chatting with ladies, having cake, and making a fool of myself, not being able to knit. But none of that mattered. What that does is it starts to set off little connections in your brain. I'm going to talk about Jane in a minute. Let me come back. Little connections in your brain that start to link to other things that make sense to you, that you love, that you enjoy. And there's no straight line route. It's not logical problem solving. You just have to dive in and trust. And that's what I did. And that's where change really began. So this is Jane. Why am I telling you about Jane? Jane's one of my clients, and I just want to tell you her story very quickly. And the whole thing, all of these stories link, but I'm going to perhaps share them in different ways at different parts of this. So in relation to this part of tapping into a different part of your brain that is connected to who you really are, Jane came to me. She was a high-performing project manager, very good at her job, and was becoming increasingly irritable, frustrated, annoyed with everything and everybody at home and at work. She didn't like going to meetings. She didn't enjoy it. She was good at what she did, but she was massively perfectionist about everything, really controlling, and losing her mind, really. And she just came to me to stop the anger. That was it. Stop the anger. And it was only later, much later, that she was doing well. She was calming down. She was getting better at facing things she hadn't previously faced. It was all going in the right direction. She was feeling better in herself. But she wasn't quite there. And she even said to me, sorry, I thought I might have had a little quote there. She even said to me, there's still a little remnant of doubt. She didn't tell me this at the time. She told me this afterwards. And I, in conversation, managed to tease out of her, because often, you need help from somebody else. You can't, I was lucky, but you can't always tease this out for yourself when you're overwhelmed and struggling and you can't concentrate, you can't think straight. She needed my help. So it turned out she came across as this really logical, organized, structured person, but she had a degree in textiles. I thought, hello, this person's really a creative person. And the minute I said, well, when did you last? I said, did you enjoy that? She said, oh, yeah, I loved that. That was what I thought I was going to do. And I said, okay, do you do any of it now? No. Do you have any of your old materials? Yeah, they're kind of in a cupboard, like in a cupboard somewhere. I said, oh, well, maybe you should think about just getting them out, perhaps. Now, it wasn't long after we had that conversation that she said, I'm done. This is good. She was smiling. She was happy. She said, I feel like myself has returned. I'm back to me. This is the real me. And that's what happened to me. It was when I realized, oh goodness, this is the real me. Where did she go? She's back. That's what Jane said. And that's what I felt. And it all came down to this one hack, secret, call it what you will. So you might already be thinking of things. Good. Continue thinking of things. Just open up that part of your brain. Don't work it. Don't overthink it, just allow it. Right, as I said, I'm trying to cram heaps in here, so I apologise if I'm going at a bit of a pace, but I want to make sure we get questions at the end, plus all of this. So, the secret number 2 that I discovered that multiplies your joy for living, increases your calm. Goodness, calm seems to be something we lose, doesn't it? And overcome low mood with 10 minutes a day. That all sounds a little bit implausible, doesn't it? So let's go back. Remember me? I was at rock bottom, wasn't I? And I was having these depressive thoughts to the extent that not only was I afraid to do things like cry, these are obvious to anyone that these are symptoms of depression, but hey, I didn't see it as that. But I started to think the world would be better off without me. In other words, I was having suicidal thoughts. Now, I wasn't planning anything, but yeah, I had thoughts like, what value do I add here? There's nothing. I'm hopeless. I'm useless. I can't do anything. Why is there any point in me continuing? I've tried everything. So how I was thinking, I've tried everything. I don't know what to do. So I was lost. And the only thought, I thought, I need to clear my head because it was so full of thoughts. I just couldn't find any clear space to think. I needed a break. So I took myself away. My lovely partner, bless him, I think he must have thought I was leaving him. He must have thought, it's me. It wasn't him. I needed a break. I took myself away for 2 nights, not to enjoy myself, not because, it wasn't a spa break. It was just, I got to go somewhere and be somewhere. Maybe I can think if I'm somewhere else, because I had nothing to lose. It didn't entirely work, because I came back still with my head full of stuff, but something must have shifted, because I knew without a shadow of a doubt that I needed what I call a pattern interrupt in my thinking. In other words, a different way of thinking, like, how can I think differently? And do you want an intervention? Don't know. Google, Facebook, those things that just pop up and you follow them. I must have followed something. Something must have triggered as a result of that weekend. Enough of a gap opened up in my thinking that I found transcendental meditation. Now, you might be thinking, is she going to tell me to do this? No. I was doubtful and I found it hard at first, and here's why. Maybe you've experienced this too. I had tried meditation in the past and I'd enjoyed it. I'd loved it. I'd been on Buddhist retreats for the weekend and just felt the most amazing calm. But it was only while I was there. And so if I was anywhere else, it's like, I can't do this. I can't relax. I'm really tense. I'm too busy. How on earth am I going to find time to do this? I can't sit still. I can't stop the thoughts, because that was the problem, wasn't it? Can't stop the thoughts. But I can't stop them even when I close my eyes. I'm supposed to be meditating. Distractions. Oh, there's an itch there. Oh no, now I'm focusing on an itch. Now there's another itch. Now there's something. Oh, there's a bird. There's a dog. There's a whatever. No quiet space. All the things that I was telling myself, because that's how I'd experienced meditation in the past. I can't do it. But remember, I was at rock bottom. So I did do it. Now, as I said, I'm racing through this, but I want to, before I move on, I want you to understand, as I said, I'm not going to tell you that you need to do transcendental meditation or any meditation, but I do want to give you something right now, a little gift, not for long. I want you to experience what it's like to have a little moment of calm where actually you can tap into it. So I chatted with my lovely tech guy who's helped me with all these lovely images, and he was going, really? You want to do this? I said, yes, let's do this. So just for a moment, if you're in a safe space and you're alone, and it doesn't matter about distractions or noises, just close your eyes. Okay, that's all I want you to do. Make sure you're sitting with your feet nice and firmly on the ground. Nothing's crossed, no arms, no legs crossed. Just sit comfortably, support your back, okay? And close your eyes. I just want you to experience this for a moment. I'm going to talk for a few moments and then I'm going to stop, Okay, so that you won't have lost the sound this time. I'm just going to let you be and see how it feels. So I'm hoping that you've got your eyes closed now. And as you've got your eyes closed, remember that right now, in this moment, nobody's wanting anything. Nobody's expecting anything. There's nothing whatsoever for you to do in this moment except what you're doing now, which is closing your eyes, resting, nothing more. You don't even have to control your thoughts. Your thoughts come in and your thoughts go out. You might imagine them like little fluffy clouds on a summer's day, just moving on in a gentle breeze. And maybe you'll think, the distractions, you won't be able to do this with distractions. They'll lead you down a different path, but it doesn't matter. You can allow yourself to follow the distractions if you choose, the sounds in this room or the sounds in your room, because none of them matter. You might think you need to listen in this moment to what I'm saying, but you don't have to do that either. You might think you have to relax because you've been taught to relax. Maybe when you go to a class for yoga or Pilates, there's a moment where everybody tells you to relax, but you don't have to worry about that either. You're doing exactly what you need to do. And remember, there's no right or wrong way to do this. There's just your way. So just remember, nobody's wanting anything. Nobody's expecting anything. There's absolutely nothing whatsoever for you to do except what you're doing right now, just for a few moments with your eyes closed, resting. And I'm going to stop speaking and just let you be. And in a moment or two, I'll come back. So now just remember that you can open your eyes and notice how you feel. And take a few moments just to remind yourself you're actually in a masterclass. And just jump into the chat. I've noticed you're having a lovely chat. Let me know how you're feeling now, right now. You haven't all fallen asleep, have you? You can come back. You can open your eyes. Relax. Brilliant. Thank you, Davina. Calm, calm, calm. Great. Calm and relaxed. Peaceful. Sleepy, calm. Relaxed and peaceful. Thank you, Paula, Karen, Lindsay, Jane, Louise, Pam, Davina. Thank you. Claire, okay. Good. Okay. Maybe better than normal. Lindsay, happy. Yay. Nice one, Lindsay. Lois, rested. Whew, we need that, don't we? Geraldine, calm. Lulu, nice. Cool. Just quickly, thank you so much for that. How many of you thought you'd be able to do that? Was that easier than you thought? Thank you, Jackie. Relaxed. Yes, Lois, thank you. Pam, yeah. Lindsay, yes. Paula, yes, yes. Great. Davina, yes. Yoo-hoo. So I'm so glad. This is why I wanted to do this, because I can tell you all the stuff in the world, but you need to experience some of it. And Karen, yes, I've tried this using Headspace. Brilliant. Thinking about my childhood. Claire, I'm so glad, because now you're really doing what it is I'm sharing with you. So relax, Gina, hooray. Headspace, great. It's about finding something that works for you. But this is what this is about. It's about change, but based on your terms. Right, let me get back to the presentation. Thank you so much. So much better that we didn't have to follow instructions. Lindsay, great. Yes, yes, isn't it? It's easier when someone doesn't tell you how you have to be. Okay, right. So that was my second thing that really saved my life. And it wasn't the entire thing that got me through menopause, got me to the place of coping again. I still hadn't found myself, but it did help a lot. So here's the final piece. So these are 3 core foundation stones. If you imagine this is a pyramid, this is the third. Back to me. So remember what I was saying. You probably all feel very chilled and floating. So come back to the space. When I was feeling completely low, what I started to do was, because I couldn't solve the problem, remember, and I meditated, so I'm feeling calmer, and I've tapped into this childhood thing, and I'm feeling a bit like, yeah, okay, I'm figuring things out more easily, but I still hadn't totally cracked this. And I thought I was telling myself I was content, but I wasn't doing things that were really doing justice to what I was capable of. I started to tell myself, oh, it's midlife, I'm too old, can't do things anymore. And I took on things that didn't challenge me. I felt undervalued. I felt invisible. And the reason I'm showing you this picture, horrible picture, is because when I wasn't working, I lived in PJs and binged on carbs. And I told people I was happy, and I almost believed it. But of course, I was lying to myself, because if I was happy, would I have looked like that in my PJs, binging on carbs? No. The thing is, I'm sorry, I can't believe I'm sharing these pictures with you, but I really want you to get a sense of what I was going through, and in a way that I hope relates to what you've been going through, what you are going through. I kept buying into those quick fix solutions because I was looking at symptoms and not realizing what the fundamental cause was. These were symptoms. Binge eating, trying to make money. I needed to make money. I was buying into that network marketing, anything that was make money fast, lose weight fast, because I thought it would solve my problems. That classic, oh, I'll be okay when I lose the weight. I'll be okay when I make a little more money. And so I was buying into stuff that didn't help, not solving the problem again. And you'd think I'd have worked this out, given what I do for a living. I was wrong. Obviously, I was wrong, because these are symptoms. The problem is somewhere else. And this is what we tend to do. And this is what most people we go and see will tell us, because few professionals, including medical professionals or business gurus, acknowledge or even know this. I've found this out. Menopause can trigger or coincide with chronic stress overload. Now, how many of you will experience this? I told you what happened to me. At the same time as going through menopause that I didn't realize I was going through, my mother went into a care home. The bank withheld those funds. I found this recurring lump in my breast. Oh, and I had a difficult client at the time. Everything was just in total meltdown. So those are symptoms of chronic contributing to chronic stress. So when you think about midlife, like our entire lives when we're young are dedicated to, work hard and you'll have a great career, and meet the right person and you'll be happy, and find the right house and everything will be lovely. And all of that kind of like, you get to midlife, like, what's next then? What's next? No one ever tells you what's next. So you're in this moment where suddenly you question everything. And then loads of stuff happens, like your parents becoming older, your children still need you. And chronic stress overload means you can't think clearly or calmly. It means you can't trust your decision-making ability. So this picture here, where I look like I'm really happy and coping, is just another example of something I bought into because I wasn't thinking clearly and making good decisions. Lovely man here, Richard McCann, went on his course, ICANN, a good course, a great course, a man full of integrity and authenticity. But I was just trying to tell myself that if I just listened to enough motivational speakers telling me I could do this, if I just read enough books, if I just lost enough weight, then that would solve everything. And it isn't true. The problem is chronic stress overload. It's only when you solve that you can clearly and calmly think again and trust what you're doing and feel like yourself. Which means you make better choices, achieve what you want, you become resilient, and you become you again. Like me, like the client I'm sharing the story of, I discovered myself again. It was when I put together all these pieces, and the solution is not, as I said, not one piece of the puzzle. It's lots of pieces of the puzzle. But the final piece that I needed to be able to get into here, this solving chronic stress overload, you might be thinking, well, how did I do that? I'll tell you how I did that. I finally stopped trying to do it all myself. I finally admitted that smart though I was, well-trained though I was, I couldn't solve this on my own. I needed help, and I got help. I got somebody else to help me with this, because chronic stress is not something it's easy to solve on your own. So I sought help. And that's when, if you go back to the earlier slides, when I was able to suddenly go, oh, I can write a book, I can talk to mental health in schools, I can do that. That was the old me. I was back. So I needed help. Some of these things I did on my own, some I needed help. Not one of those things on their own was enough. I needed them all. So if you'd like help to achieve more calm, balance, calm and ease in your life starting today, so you can be in control no matter what life throws at you, I'm just going to share what I've got for you. But I'm just noticing, I just want to catch up with some of the comments before I do that. So Claire's talking about her mum going into care home. It's hard. It's really hard. And Davina lost my dad overnight in January, caught in lockdown. Oh, yeah, yes. Oh my goodness. Talk about overload. Davina, I'm so sorry. My mum actually died this week, Monday. And so I'm quite astonished that I'm actually holding this all together. And I thought maybe sometimes I might not, but I totally understand. At least I now have the resilience to be able to cope with that. But yeah, that's what happens to us in midlife. So here's what I've got for you. It was so important for me to come up with something that would help other people not take 5 years to figure this out for themselves, or just struggle and go, well, that's life, and not be the best mother, parent, daughter, worker, boss, business owner that you could be. I don't think that's right. I want you to be able to change this. So I'm going to give you a way to help regain control of your life and your thoughts and finally be happy again. So you can achieve more balance, calm and ease, no matter what life throws at you starting today. Because nobody's journey, although we have so much in common, all of us, all these stories you're sharing and the stories I've been sharing, we have so much in common, but we also are not people that respond to formulas. And that was one of the things. A formula isn't what gets you to where you need to go. What you need is something that's more aligned with you, with your differences, your uniqueness, your aspiration. And I like to think that's what I'm going to help you with. So here's what I've come up with. The Crisis to Freedom 6-week journey. I've chosen 6 weeks because that's kind of the time span in which the majority of my clients reach that point of going, oh, crikey. You know, they start to suddenly go, oh, so this is what life could be like? So it seemed like a good time period. And of course, I called it Crisis to Freedom because that's how it felt to me, moving from a place of crisis to a place of freedom. And here's how it makes a difference. It reduces irritability and anxiety. That's part of that chronic stress overload. These are symptoms. They're not the problem. They are symptoms of the problem. And, you know, I'm just showing you through some people that I've worked with who came to me. This person was terrified. They'd been promoted and they were afraid of doing anything at work. They thought they were going to get it wrong. They didn't know what they were doing. They thought they were going to get found out, that classic imposter thing. And it all changed, fundamentally because this person needed to really get a grip with chronic stress overload. You can improve your self-worth because that's the thing that goes, isn't it? When you discover you can't do things you used to do, you keep beating your head against the brick wall, you keep trying and failing, eventually your self-worth just goes. And I stopped believing in myself, stopped thinking I was of any value. And this is Tash. She was cynical. A lot of the people that work with me are skeptical to begin with, and I kind of like that because they're at that point. Go, well, I've got nothing to lose. Might as well. And as I said to you, it's small change, small steps, small changes, not big leaps, not formulas. Do this, do that, do this on Monday, do this on Tuesday, do this on Wednesday. It's about small changes on your terms. And some people make quick changes, and some people are slower. But Tash transformed her life. She went from doubting she was good enough to do the job she was actually in to taking on a much bigger job overseas and subsequently actually setting up her own hugely successful business. It helps you increase concentration, clarity, and focus. That's what we need. We need that. And I want to share this story because it sounds like I'm promising, oh, everything will be wonderful. And it's all about monumental change. But sometimes it's about a smaller thing. But as I said, things like weight gain are symptoms, not causes. And this is Era. She quite openly said, look, all I want is to be able to lose weight, but I know I just can't motivate myself. I know the problem is in my thinking. I just can't motivate myself to do it. So she worked with me, and once she'd finished working through the program, she was able to do what she wanted. So she's lost the weight she wanted. And this is not a weight loss program, but that's what she wanted for herself. It helps you build courage to make a fresh start, just as I've done, and give you the mind tools to get you there. Because it's the mind you have to work on, but that's the thing that is the hardest thing. It feels like, where is it? I don't know, where is my mind? Increase positive thinking, resilience. And again, not about reading some mantras, but about switching on the part of your brain that starts self-generating more and more good stuff, good ideas, breakthrough moments that allow you to be more confident and to cope with all aspects of your life, just like Sarah. Improve the quality of your life. How valuable is it to just feel like life's fun again? Even if you don't have any grand plans, just to feel like you're spending life with people you care about and you're fully there, fully with them. I'm going to give you a tried and tested way to reprogram your subconscious. I've been doing this for years, and I've done it for myself and I've done it for other people. I'll give you a way to increase your calm and joy, and I hope you've had a taste, just a small taste of what that is, so that you can overcome low mood anytime. Simple strategies. It has to be simple. Overcomplicate it and it just adds to the problem. This needs to be simple, and it is. As I said, you take on the tiniest things. You think, how will that make a difference? Like me going to the knitting class, how will that work? You just trust it, do it, and then find your mind shifting. It gets you out of stuckness. And when you get out of stuckness, then you start to figure out what you really want. That was one of the hardest things for me, was what I didn't even know what I wanted. And there's so many courses on finding your purpose. And, when I was drawn into so many of them and none of them worked, never figured out what my purpose was, because I was in chronic stress overload. And I wasn't tapped into who I really was with my childhood pleasures. And I said, it's uniquely personal. So this is about almost every course I've been on. It's all very nice, and the person who's leading it shows up once in a while, but mostly you're going to get someone else. And you're going to get a uniform training. This is uniquely personal, and I've designed it in such a way that that is possible. So it will be as close as you could possibly get to actually working with me in person, even though we might not be sitting in the same room or even on a Zoom call together. So when you complete the journey, this is what you can expect. And I know this, I can say this because this is what my clients are able to do. You'll be able to apply at least one simple strategy to reduce anxiety, irritability, and panic. You'll be able to put your own needs at the top of your to-do list. And how many of you may answer this or you may not, this is kind of rhetorical, but how many of you put your own needs way beneath everybody else's and feel guilty if you do something for you? You'll be able to discover a measurable and easy to learn method to improve your daily experience, whatever else is happening. And you've probably figured out how. Renew at least one creative or fitness interest with energy and enthusiasm. And here's a bonus, and you can't plan it, but it happens. You will notice positive change in at least one relationship, whether at work or at home. It's happened time and time again. So here's what's included. As I said, 6 weeks is kind of a great period to really see a difference for yourself. And as I said, it's live video training. I'm using Facebook as the medium to deliver, and it's me in person. If you're able to show up live, then that's great. And I will take you through little bite-sized chunks each week. If I were doing training for a company, I'd be charging $1,000 a day. So this is 6 weeks. In fact, not $1,000, £1,000 because I'm English. So it's great value and it's really vital. You also get 6 weeks of, did I just say that? Hang on a minute. My video training. That's 2. Okay, we don't do it twice. We just do it the once. So 6 weeks of Q&A coaching. Now this is different. This is where you need to be involved, just as you've been today. You have been magnificently brilliant at sharing, at talking, at asking, and that's what's required. And that comes separately from the video training. You also get 6 weeks of custom hypnotherapy. And if if that's the other reason I wanted to do that little session with you, if you're thinking hypnotherapy, well, I don't think so. I hope you'll realize there's nothing weird about it. You just feel amazing. And I gave you a small taste. But the reason this is custom hypnotherapy is that I use all of the stuff you give me. So everything you've just been sharing in the chat, everything you will share in the chat in the Facebook group, everything you ask me, everything you tell me gets incorporated into those sessions that make them really powerful. It's a private Facebook community and a learning space, but we also upload every recording into a private members area that you can access at your leisure when you want. So if you don't show up to the lives, you can get them, and you can get them beyond the end of the course too. So that's the value of it, $4,800. You'd be thinking, well, that's rather a lot of money, isn't it, Shirley? And you'd be right. But if all I gave you was a way to ditch the negative thoughts, keeping you anxious, overwhelmed, lost, sad, increase your sense of calm, improve your quality of life and sleep, overcome chronic stress overload so you can think clearly and calmly, would that be worth $4,800 to you? Personally, I think it would. If it means you can stay in your job, like Dr. Anne Carson, not give up a high-powered job that she loves. If it means you can actually have promotion and not think, oh, I'm at midlife, I'm not worthy anymore, or that you can start that business, or you can be more successful in that business, or you can just be happier at home, would it be worth that? Well, you don't have to pay that, because in my view, that would make it way, way too inaccessible. My goal is to make a living by making a difference, not by making a killing. So you can get started now for $497, not pounds, dollars, which makes it even cheaper if you're in England. But maybe you're not sure you deserve this, not worthy. Maybe you convince yourself that other people's needs are way more important than yours. But the thing is, you can't be the best partner, daughter, mother to anybody when you're anxious, irritable, or moody. And if you don't put yourself first, nothing changes and nobody benefits. You just become increasingly invisible and lost. Maybe you tell yourself, oh, I shouldn't complain. I did this, because you've so much to be grateful for. And I did this. I felt like I had a wonderful partner. I had wonderful friends. He's my dear friend Jane. I lived in a beautiful part of the world. I had my health. Like, it's unreasonable to feel this way. But telling yourself that when you feel terrible, irrespective of what's on in your life, that you need to be grateful, that's as logical as ignoring the small lump in your breast because someone else has stage 3 cancer. It's just not logical. And I mentioned it earlier, you put yourself way down the bottom of the list of priorities. And here's my lovely mum. I'm going to try not to cry. Other people's needs come first. Children's education, and that's the other thing at midlife. This is why our generation are in crisis more than any other generation before, because our parents are living longer. They need care. Our children don't have the independence that we had. You perhaps have to help both ends. You're supporting parents, family, cars, things for the home. And it's easy to put all those things first and you last, but people who love you want you to be happy and well, because nobody benefits from doing nothing and watching it out, least of all you. But what else would you need to be successful? Maybe what you need is, that regular boost, because the program's great, but I still need, I think we all love to have, when we're on our own, and something goes wrong in the day, or we can't get in touch with friends, and COVID, we're often on our own, aren't we? To be able to access something that gives us that jolt, that reconnection with us and what we want. And so I'm sharing with you the Being Better Than Good Enough. This is my 10 most popular episodes from the Revelation podcast. And I know they're the most popular because I know they get listened to the most. So they're all in one place for you. There's also the Diamond Dozen Power List. Again, we all need constant connection with, firing us up. Maybe you've got some big thing you've got planned and you want to do it. And I said here, Tony wasn't doing it for me. I mean, Tony Robbins, he's a big rough man. What does he know about menopause? And he just tells you to, toughen up. I want you to have access to women like us. And so I put together the Diamond Dozen Power List. There's also the Midlife Reinvention ebook. So you can take it. There's 52 small changes you can make in here. Just pick and choose. You can do all of them, none of them, some of them. Just bite-sized little small step changes. And here's the biggie. Included in all of this as a bonus, I hasten to add, this is not the main program, this is a bonus, is the Midlife Reinvention Program. You may have seen it mentioned earlier when I was talking about ERA. This is a complete program in itself. It's completely online. There are hours of training and learning. You can dive in. Nothing's lengthy. You dive in, use it anytime you want. You access it from the members area. This sold for $497 on its own, and I'm giving it away to you today with this program, Crisis to Freedom. Plus, for the first 10 people who jump in and purchase, I'm offering a free one-to-one coaching call with me, as well as everything else. That means we can talk personally about your specific concerns, your specific desires, what's in your way, what you want to achieve, or just anything you want to share. The first 10 people to buy get that coaching call with me. So what do we got? We've got the 6 weeks of the live video training, the live Q&A coaching, the custom hypnotherapy, the private Facebook community and learning space, the private members area where everything that's recorded is uploaded. You can access as often as you like. The bonuses, the audio series of the top 10 podcasts, and I've done hundreds. The bonus, a dime a dozen power list of video, motivational videos of women in midlife, not Tony Robbins. The bonus midlife reinvention ebook, 52 small changes you can make. Pick and choose really small, easy things to change the way you feel and act. And the total midlife reinvention program, the entire thing, I haven't left anything out, it's all there, which I sold literally a month or two ago for $497. The total of all of that I'm offering for $497. So basically you're paying for the midlife reinvention and getting the rest for free if you want to look at it that way. But that's what you're getting. Plus, no risk, 60-day money-back guarantee. If you feel like, well, she probably saw those things and I did everything and I showed up and I asked the questions and I listened and I trained and blah, 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 and it didn't work, you can have your money back, 60-day money-back guarantee. So, apologies if I've rattled through this. Time for Q&A. I really wanted you to have time for Q&A. So let's just have a look. A few of you have been chatting in here. I have some questions that people sent me in advance. Oh, goodness. Wow. Right, I'm just having a look. Karen. Hormones, time. Okay, let me share with you the questions. So please submit any questions you would like me to answer right now. That's what I'm here for. I'm here for you. Let me just respond to the questions that have been sent via email. I was asked, and I stupidly haven't written down the names of the people that asked me, so I apologize. But someone asked me about my morning routine. What's my morning routine? And that's really easy because I do actually have a morning routine that I didn't used to have. And interesting, I'm very interested that the question was even asked. So my morning routine is I make myself get up even if I'm not due to be anywhere quite early, so 6:30. And the first thing I do after I've been to the shower, the first thing I do is I have a cold shower. And then I meditate for 20 minutes. And at some point, sometimes in the morning, in which case I'd do this first, the exercise. I'll do exercise, cold shower, meditation, breakfast. And my breakfast is brain food. That's my routine. Now, why the cold shower? The cold shower calms your parasympathetic nervous system, which means if you're suffering from high anxiety, you really want to consider this. Don't go, oh, I can't do cold showers. Yeah, I get under it and think, oh my goodness, why am I under this? But it really makes a difference. So that's my morning routine. And how do I stop being invisible? I feel lost. I just want to I'm not sure how many of you, just before I answer the next question, I'm not sure how many of you need to click on offers or whether you can see how to enroll. There's an enroll button. If I'm not sure if you can see the same things as me, but there's offers. It says enroll now. Just click on that button and it will take you to the enrollment page. So the next question, this is a big one. How do I stop being invisible? I feel lost. Well, I hope that hearing my stories helps you understand a little bit about that. Feeling invisible and lost is about losing your identity. And it is, I think, the key thing, certainly for me, is that tapping back into what did I used to love? What have I stopped doing that I used to love? And if you have to go back, just like me, to childhood, 4, 5, the point is, don't dismiss anything. Don't ever go, oh, this isn't relevant. Relevancy isn't what helps you. That's the logical brain trying to intervene. You want to tap into your subconscious brain. That will help you. And you find your identity by just tapping in and trusting positive neurotransmitters to connect and send off little signals to other neurons so that you start creating new neural pathways. How can I be more compassionate with myself? Was someone asked that, and that's a tough one to answer because that's such a personal thing. It's where are you not being compassionate to yourself is really the question to ask. Where do you need to make the change? So someone I was working with this week was not being kind to herself in that she was doing everything for her family. She's making herself really unhappy. She feels undervalued, not cared for, taken for granted, and she's quietly angry. And how she realized she needed to be compassionate with herself was actually to stop doing some of the things she was doing and stop expecting other people to be what she wanted them to be. So that to go, oh, thank you, that's amazing that you did that, because they're never going to do it. And that is curious, but that was how she needed to be compassionate for herself. And it's helped her feel like that's what she wants. So let me just have another quick look. Let's just put myself back on camera. Oh, there I am. Let's have a look. Bear with me a second. You don't have to believe this is possible just yet. Because none of my clients do, actually. They sit and they go, no, they don't really believe it's possible. They just have to hold on to the fact that it might be possible to begin with. And always they achieve way, way, way more than they believed was possible. It happened for me and it can happen for you. And the kind of objections you might be having are, what is too much? What kind of objections, what reasons might you give yourself for not making a change for yourself? What objections and hurdles do you put in your way? It's lovely to see how supportive you all are. So imagine what this would be amplified in the private Facebook group, that you could be supporting one another in addition to getting the change that you want through coaching. Sorry, I'm not looking at the camera. I apologize. I'm looking at the chat. Joint pain. Claire, did you want some? Oh, okay, Claire. I don't know if that was a question or not. Oh, lovely. Thanks, Karen. She'll answer that. And sometimes you need to find other things. And that's why if we stay in the traditional path of what we used to do, then nothing changes. So I'm just going to hang on because there's a little bit of a delay on this to see whether anyone wants me to answer any more questions. about the course, about the program, about a problem I haven't covered, any question at all that you would like answered, please let me know. I'm going to hang on for a little while. A quick drink. How many of you have found what you've heard today helpful? I can see you're having a lovely chat. Oh, good. Lindsay, thank you. In pounds rather than dollars, Geraldine, that's a good question. Thank you, Louise. Well, it depends on the exchange rate at the time, but no, Claire, I never linked it to menopause either. I'm just going to do a mini calculation because I have no idea at the moment, but I think it's probably somewhere around less than 400, probably. The thing to do is do a quick search on Google for oh, thank you, my lovely help. 300. It's currently £382.91, depending on which bank you use and what conversion they're using. Geraldine, you found it helpful. That's great. Does that help, Geraldine, converting that to give you a sense of what it's like in pounds? I put it in dollars because most of the time we Brits are capable of coping with dollars, but friends on the other side of the Atlantic usually can't quite compute. You're welcome, Geraldine. Karen, yeah, I know. Well done for trying. It's a bit of a lonely road on your own, though, isn't it? I just thought I'd go back to this slide so that you can get a sense of, remind yourself what's included. Okay, so no questions. No more questions other than the dollar thing. Yeah, Karen, that's right. You need help. And there aren't many people out there offering any help, to my knowledge. There's a handful, but yeah, not many people out there. So, Lindsay, you're very welcome. You are very welcome. I felt alone too, but we're not. There's a whole group of us. And change is really possible. I urge you to jump in to the program. It's going to be very special. Right, I can see you can form some great friendships here. As it looks like there's no more questions, I hope I've answered the questions that were sent to me as adequately as I could. And I hope, as I say, I'm glad that those of you who are here have found it helpful and know that you're not alone. So I'm going to close out the class, the webinar. Just noticing on Karen. Yeah, Karen. I think not many people realize this. You know, it's so easy to anybody here in the Northwest. I'm going to let you guys catch up. As I say, I'm going to close out. I really look forward to those of you that do jump in, and just want to remind you that the first 10 people that sign up get that one-to-one with me. We jump on a Zoom call wherever you are, and that's just for the first 10, but everybody else gets all of what's on this page. So thank you so much for being here. It's late-ish. I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and thanks for your concentration. Not always easy, and I will look forward to hopefully welcoming you again in the program. All right, thank you. I've got to figure out how to close this down now. I'll probably need some help. Oh no. Okay, thank you everybody. Bye for now.